Today we have a quick webinar for privileged access management, pragmatic access management, pragmatic because we will present it in an approach how quickly deploy the solution and how quickly to use it for remote access with or without VPN. So quick introduction, we skip the question part for now. So any question you will have, please ask after the session to our partners or directly to me, to my email, and then we can move forward. So Wallix, it's a French vendor. We are IT security company. We do currently, or we develop 4 types of products. Today we focus only on one called Wallix Bastion, which covers the domain called privileged access management. And now I will present to you in details how it can be used. So basically, we have privileged access management. It's something you already know from real world, which is physical access management. In physical access management, you record what is going on in the area which you protect. You have some business hours where you open the access to the building or to the office from Monday till Sunday. You have a book where you record who is entering when, and you have keys. So basically you access to the doors inside the building with dedicated keys, which you most likely store in a vault in the reception, at the reception. So today we're gonna show you what you can do in exactly the same manner, but in IT world. So we have who, where, when access my infrastructure, what was done during the session, so we can record these sessions. What was the value of the work? So if somebody invoices us after the work, we can check what was done, what was not done, how it was done, and if we want to pay the invoice. Audit compliance, this is of course objective where you have regulatory institutions and they force you to use this kind of solutions to in case of need, you will be able to present the logs, who access when and what was done in your IT infrastructure. Knowledge base, also very important argument to use this kind of solutions. Your colleague is fixing something in your network, your colleague is sick or didn't come to work for some reasons next day, and you have the same problem. So you might want to see how the thing was done. Another case is that external company who in normal situation would come on site to install for you server or application, now they cannot come, so they do the work remotely. So you might want to record the session and the remote work just for future to come back to this data to have a look what was done, how it was done, and what was the initial configuration. So in general, also very important, if somebody connects remotely, they should connect with their own names, not root, not admin. And these power accounts, privilege accounts, power users credentials should be protected, meaning that you shouldn't share them publicly, you shouldn't share them at all. People should connect with their own accounts, and then the solution should connect them into the infrastructure. So very quickly, how to start. So very important thing with any PAM solution on the market is to have a good plan. Good plan means that if you plan physical access control to implement in your building, you usually know who has access to which rooms, where to put cameras, where to put fire detector, where to put maybe move detector, where is the front entry to the building. Same you should plan for PAM. If you are thinking about implementing PAM now because of the higher number of people who work remotely, think about kind of matrix. Which people or which groups of people should have access to which groups of servers. This is very important before you start thinking about implementing PAM, because then you will start to think, okay, for this access, I don't need to record. For this access of to this group of people, I need to record and I need to have workflow approval, meaning that someone will approve the access if it happens for some particular number of people. So this is what I usually very strongly underline, that before thinking about PAM from this vendor, you should always have in mind what is the plan, what are your requirements, what is your security policy regarding access. Okay, so this is a picture with many details on the modules we have. So we have Session Manager, Password Manager, AAPM, which is application to application password manager. We have Access Manager. I will not go into the details of these modules. You will get this presentation after we end, and then you can read about details. And if something is interesting for you, we can go into details. Today, we're gonna focus on Access Manager and Session Manager on these two modules, but just keep in mind that our PAM offering is much more wider. So this is, let's say, I would say typical scenario on how to implement PAM. So we have users, remote users, they connect here. We might have at the beginning for them somewhere here a VPN gateway. And then there are two ways to access our infrastructure and two scenarios that I will present. So one scenario is if someone will go directly to the servers through a Session Manager. So the connection goes like this. But there is another option where you can go first through Access Manager, then Session Manager, and then Targets. Targets means the devices to which you access or which you want to protect. Target devices can be switches, routers, RDP servers, application servers, databases, SAP, I don't know, CRM, whatever is important for you. So if you access via Access Manager, the access is through HTTPS. If you access directly through Bastion, then you connect with RDP client or SSH client. Then Wallix acts as a proxy. The proxy, you connect to the proxy, so you do not connect directly to servers, and then proxy connects you further. I will show the demo in a second. What is important is that you can install Wallix in virtual environment in your infrastructure, so it's full on-premise solution. You can use Microsoft Hyper-V, you can use VMware or KVM. We will provide you the image or ISO, and then you continue with the installation with our support, but I will go about this offer later. You can also install Wallix in cloud environment, and that's the basic architecture, let's say. Now, if we continue, let me just click here, quick. Okay, so we are proxy, so you connect to Wallix Bastion, not Access Manager, which is HTTPS portal, but to Wallix Bastion through SSH or RDP. So you open your client. In Windows, you have mstsc.exe, and then you connect, and from Wallix will connect you further. Let me show you example so we don't get bored with the PowerPoint presentation. So I have a client. This is RDP client. I select the name, but it can be, of course, IP address of Bastion, Wallix Bastion Session Manager. I click connect. I use my Active Directory credentials. I think this is the user, my password. Okay, I'm logged in, so I'm like at the reception of the building. I show my ID, I'm Pavel Rybczyk, and then I see only the servers to which I have access. Okay, so you can see here that I have information. Let me draw it. I have information, who am I? Okay, here, what is my IP? And now I have list of servers to which I can access. I can be logged in as an administrator, so without knowing the password for admin, or I can have SSO, where I will be connected as the same user as I logged into the proxy. Okay, so it can be connection to my desktop, which I left in my company, and now I need to have access to it because I work remotely, or it can be a RDP server, and where I publish just dedicated application like here, web console, calculator, and then the user will see only this particular application. So you isolate basically the user from all other applications that she or he shouldn't have access. So now I will select, let's say, this one. You got a warning. The warning can be translated to any language. You can also change the logo and stuff, but it says basically that whatever you do might be recorded. So it's a warning for the end user, so they know how to, that they are monitored. I click OK, and now the connection goes into being established from Wallix into the server or to the desktop. Okay, so what is very important here is that you can see that the user is fully isolated from his home computer into the system that is on the IT infrastructure side. Now, same for SSH, because of course not only RDP. RDP you can assume that it's for the graphical applications. If we are talking about console, again, user from Active Directory. I log in, then I see all of the servers to which I should have access, and I just select one that I want to work on. Number 3, hello, I'm in, and I'm connected as root or here as web admin, and then I can start work. Now, second part of my demo is to show you how this all looks from the administrator perspective. Okay, so now I will open the Bastion website. Sorry, it's not www, it's my internal Bastion. Now I log in as admin, but keep in mind here you can also create different types of users with different privileges or different rights. So I have full admin now, but you can make user who will have access, for example, only to audit section. Audit section means that you are a user who is auditing the recorded or ongoing sessions. So now I will go to audit, and I can see who is in my building now. It's Mr. Rybczyk, connected from this IP, and Mr. Rybczyk got connected to this server. He is already in the building since 1 minute, and I would like to see what Mr. Rybczyk is doing. So I see, and as you can see, I can view live without installing any agent what Pavel Rybczyk is doing. Okay, for RDP session, you can even join the session and work with him together if he needs any support. So then it would work a bit like TeamViewer, but of course it's not TeamViewer kind of product, but you know, the feeling or the feature works this way. If I don't like what Pavel is doing, I can disconnect him. Okay, and now the session becomes our historical session. I can click play. Okay, full transcript, what was shown on the screen. Same for RDP would be that way. And then I can see all the commands that were typed in. Of course, the commands can be sent to CM, to syslog, so just to correlate it with other logs. But once again, in the approach we are talking now, so very quick installation, pragmatic, we just want to start it immediately and start to use it, secure the network very quickly without additional, let's say, features. But of course, the product can be created much more complex. What is also very good that if you look at the RDP sessions, we can also store information. For example, we show what processes were started. We can even show which were ended, but we can also store the files that were sent during the session. So that means that every file that was sent during the session, you will be able to see the file name, and you can also download it. If you have antivirus product that supports ICAP protocol, we can send the file to this server, take the information if the file is okay or not, whatever it means because of the DLP or antivirus product we have, and then the file is sent further. So all the logs, the video, everything here is something that you can use later for audits, or I don't know, to double check what was done. And as I said, that can be used for security reasons, for invoicing purpose, or can be treated as an internal knowledge base. You can always export the video to MP4 and then share it with other people. So if we come back to my presentation, this is what I just showed. So it means that we show the access through the Bastion directly. Now, if your protocols which you want to monitor are not listed here, okay, then we have another mechanism to support all other protocols, for example, HTTPS, some SQL protocols, or any custom protocol. Then we install Jump Server, which is basically Microsoft Windows Terminal servers. Maybe you already have it. On that server, you install clients for these other protocols, the other protocols than here, HTTPS and so on. So client for HTTPS can be Microsoft Edge or Firefox. The user will connect here on primary connection via RDP, and then on the jump server, we will start just the application to which this person has access. What more, we also support Microsoft Remote App. So you can make for users a shortcut on their desktops. If they click the shortcut, the application will start on jump server, but the feeling of the user would be in that way that the application is installed on their laptop or PC. So it's very, very, very comfortable for them. And for you, what is important is that you have only two protocols open on the side of access management. So you don't need to monitor multiple protocols, open ports for all of the remote users. So in my opinion, it's much more easier. And still keep in mind, we are talking about single product, which is called Wallix Bastion. In a second, I will talk about additional add-on called Access Manager. So if we're talking about Bastion Session Manager and the solution when it connects to target systems, so we are talking about secondary connection. As you can see, we can support Windows 7, desktop version, or server, Microsoft Windows Server editions. So basically, you can provide access to any RDP server in your organization. We can also support VNC, or we can support any product or protocol through the jump server installation. Now, two scenarios. When you have VPN, so user connects through VPN to your network, user will be connected, but now you don't provide him access to the whole network of DMZ or to LAN. You just provide him or her access to a single IP address of Wallix. And then Wallix lets her go in. The network is segmented, the access is segmented, and if you wish, optionally you can record it because it's very flexible. You can record sessions for some particular users, and for some you don't need. So it's very flexible. Now, if we have the let's say scenario with VPN, so we have VPN, then we install Bastion Session Manager. As I said, Hyper-V, VMware, it's an image you get, you install it. Then we configure network cards, clients of NTP, DNS, SMTP if you want to get notifications from Wallix. Integration with user directory, LDAP or Active Directory. We can sync with multiple Active Directories. No need to configure anything on Active Directory sites. It's very easy. And then on VPN, you just tell that all the users who are connected through VPN should have access to single IP of Wallix. That's all on these two ports. Of course, as Wallix acts as a proxy, Wallix source IP should have access to whole DMZ. And then we have two scenarios. User connects to VPN, from VPN to Bastion, and then to DMZ or LAN. User connects to VPN, Bastion terminal server with the application client installed on the terminal server, RDS, and then it goes to other applications or servers, databases, I don't know, whatever you have. The end users, so your home users, will need to have RDP. That's easy because every Windows have it, or for terminal connections SSH. Now, time of deployment, very basic configurations, around 60 minutes. Access without VPN, and that's a different product we have. No, not different. You still need to have Session Manager, but you will have on the top Access Manager. Access Manager is a different instance. So people will connect here. I need to put my organization name. So it's test. I connect again with the same user from Active Directory. My password. So before, when it loads, I will just come back to one slide, if you don't mind. So let's come back to this slide. Yes, okay. I cannot come back that quickly, so let's come back it a bit longer. Okay. So before I presented to you the idea to connect through Session Manager only, and this was this access. Okay, so Session Manager here, and user connected directly here with RDP or PuTTY client. But for some users, you might want them to provide to them only access via, sorry for my drawing, but only through HTTPS. Okay, So they will connect through HTTPS to Access Manager. So you publish to internet just HTTPS without VPN. And then they connect, and Access Manager connects them to one or multiple bastions. Multiple because you might have bastion per VLAN or per your location, which is worldwide, let's say. Now, just to present how it works now, I will erase this, sorry. Okay, so now we can switch this off, and now I'm on Access Manager. As you can see, my demo includes only one bastion called Bastion 6, but here you could have multiple cities, Warsaw, I don't know, Praga, Belgrade, Zagreb, whatever. Anyway, you go here, you click on the server. I would like to be connected here as local admin. I click, and the whole access is done within web browser. So this is very nice segmenting, because if somebody at home has a ransomware, you will not allow to get this ransomware into your network together with the VPN access. Here you have pure HTTPS. Drag and drop, they can send files, everything is recorded, we store the files, they can work remotely. It's very easy again to install. Okay, let's wait till it loads. Again, you can view these sessions live, but it's another instance. So you put in access zone Access Manager. Access Manager is allowed to connect to Bastion, which is located in DMZ next to servers. Another Bastion, for example, next to LAN. Again, infrastructure is up to you. We can help, of course, to advise. You can start with one central bastion and then add additional ones. Again, it can be improved like everything each day. So I'm here now connected. I can work remotely, blah, blah, blah. Everything I type in is recorded. I close the session, and then you can view the session. So that's how it works. What is the difference between the first scenario and the second scenario? So of course it requires a bit more time, because we have two instances here. So I have to install Access Manager. Access Manager is an application, so you don't get ISO file, you just get our application, and you need to install it on Debian, CentOS, or Windows Server. Of course, you then need to also protect the operating system by yourself, so we advise to put firewall in front or to configure firewall on the server. You configure the network routing, all what was the same story as with Bastion. Okay, and the users will connect to Access Manager. From Access Manager, automatically in the background, they will be connected through Bastion, and then from Bastion to DMZ. Okay, so a bit longer installation. The WALIX part, when I say WALIX part, it doesn't mean that in this 30 minutes we assume, I don't know, Debian installation with database. This has to be done in advance. Of course, we can help as well, but just to say it's very quick to install. Okay, so it's not weeks of time, it's just a matter of minutes, hours, but it's very, very, very acceptable time. So, I didn't translate this part. Now, small summary regarding security. So for security, what we achieve with this implementation of these two scenarios, we have separation, what I think is the most important thing, from the home unknown for you networks with the corporate network. On the top, if somebody connects to RDP server with WALIX, you can control all the outbound connections from this server. So for example, you can block any TCP connection out of this server to, I don't know, look for other servers or to connect somewhere else. I think something is wrong with the order. We can hide, of course, the privilege accounts credentials, so I can log in Pavel as root without showing to Pavel the root password. We can also filter the processes on the RDP servers. So for example, for external company, I give them access to Oracle database client or to whole Windows, but if they start to manipulate in control panel or task manager, I will cut the connection immediately and send notification. I means WALIX. WALIX will cut the connection, terminate the session, and send notification to our team, IT team. We can record the sessions. We can implement the workflow approval. Once again, you open the access from Monday to Friday, But if someone connects on Saturday, Wallix will send email to, for example, 10 people, and you set up a policy that at least 2 people have to approve it. Notifications, quite basic. Log of uploaded files to the server and integration with ICAP. Okay, some basics. Again, I will share this presentation so you can then have a look. If you have additional questions, always please contact our partners or me directly. Now, in this presentation, I will not go through it. You have separate hardware requirements for session manager. So how much memory CPU you need. For example, here, if we quickly look, because we have still 5 minutes, this says that for 2 RDP sessions or 20 SSH sessions, you need to have 2 CPUs and 4 gigs of RAM. Okay, if you want to manage 16 RDP sessions in parallel, you need to have 8 gig of RAM and 6 cores of CPUs. Okay, so 6 cores. So basically, it's not killing thing. You can again have multiple instances if you wish. So it's very straightforward. Again, I don't want to spend more time on this slide because it's part of the presentation. So you can have a look. If you need additional help, let me know. Same for Access Manager. So what do we offer now? If you need for this pandemic times a license, we can extend a free trial for that for both Bastion and Access Manager. License no limit. So any license you need, we can provide to you. It will be refreshed every month because I cannot make a license for longer periods. So each month we will refresh it. And it's we call it temporary license for people who normally you will not need the license for them because they would work from your company offices. But as they now need to work remotely, we want to support you. Remote support with installation. So our partners or me myself, I'm an engineer as well at Wallix, or my colleague Artur, we will support every customer who would like to install Wallix. We will also make the standard support based on best effort, so no SLA. If you need SLA, then we need to make a commercial offer. But so far, I think it's on this approach, Wallix is very easy. It's very quick installation. We already organized it this week, but in Polish language, English should come next week. We will have 3 hours trainings on how to use and maintain Wallix. So we will have a lot of remote content in coming days and weeks. So anyway, just let us know what you need. We can also make dedicated sessions for your teams. So these are the contact details for me and for my colleague in case you would decide to go with the installation. And basically that's it. We are on time, 35 minutes, let's say the presentation took already. So if you have any questions, please contact our partners. If you need more details on how to install Wallix, where to install, then again, talk to our partners or contact me directly. I'm willing to help. Where is my email address?